Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Wasn't your original favorite football team the Buccaneers?
Actually, a long time ago. I remember when they were back in the Super Bowl. And what was that, like not late 90s?
I don't know. I would have only been like 6 years old.
Oh, that's right. Actually. But yeah, and then you showed me the dark side, or the light side.
Or the green and yellow side.
Green and
side.
gold. Green and gold. I know, I always worried to think it's green and gold.
You know, I think when we first met and we're talking about the Buccaneers and Packers, weren't they in the same division way back then? Before they reshuffled everything?
I don't know, are they? I don't remember when the divisions were shuffled, because this was back in 2007 when we met. Oh my god.
Oh, no. Yeah. Probably not then.
But yeah,
Isn't that weird to think, though? That before they changed up the divisions, geographically, it makes no sense.
Well, most of these divisions geographically make no sense. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2M Football.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Matt.
Is that another voice you're doing there, Matt?
It was just throwing things around there.
Oh, okay. Who is it? What do you call that character?
Bob.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
You know what Bob spelled backwards is?
Boob.
Bob.
How does that make any sense?
Anyway, we're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers today, our second team in the NFC South. They were
I might get a stroke there for a minute.
Down. I don't know why I had to think
and once again, I had to start the timer for you. Why are you in charge of the timer?
Every single time. I don't know why. See, I'm dependent on you starting for me now. I know I don't have to, because you will. Anyway, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were 9-7 last year, which was second place in the division. Did I already say all this? Which is the NFC South, which I just read this time off my notes instead of trying to remember it in my head.
For the first 20 minutes, we go absolutely nowhere but in a circle.
Talking in circles, yeah. Yeah, since we've already wasted so much time, we'll just get right in. Buccaneers were mostly a middle-of-the-pack team on offense. They averaged 22 points per game, which was 18th, 346 yards per game, also 18th, 245 pass yards per game, which was 16th, but just 101 rush yards per game, which was 24th. So it's all right there in the middle of the league. So starting with their quarterback, Jameis Winston, or as I like to call him, Famous Jameis. Not sure if I made that up or if I read that somewhere, but I'll take the credit right now, even though it's horrible. This past season,
I have nothing to say to you. Because I wasn't expecting that, so that kind of caught me off guard.
Oh, I've got another curveball coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Just what I always wanted.
This past season was Winston's second year in the league after being selected with the number 1 overall pick back in 2015. And his numbers were up almost across the board over his rookie year. He completed 61% of his passes, had over 4,000 yards again, 28 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. He also fumbled 10 times and lost 6 of those, which is way more than you want to see.
Or as I have to call them, ints.
Fumbles?
No interceptions.
That was like 30 seconds ago.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying any attention to what you were saying. I'm trying to think of the funny stuff over here, all right? That takes a lot of brain power.
It takes too long, I guess, doesn't it? Or maybe I'll try to move a little slower, I don't know. But anyway, Winston looks...
The Buccaneers.
You done? Winston looks really good, and I forget who we said this about. Oh, Derek Carr, I think. Just that Winston's another example of a first-round quarterback draft pick working out the way you want it to. In just his second year as a starter, or even in his rookie year, he was good. His second year, he's even better. And especially now that they've added some weapons to his receiving core, which we'll get to in just a minute. Looking for him to be
more than one weapon? Okay, never mind.
Looking for him to be even better in year 3. So moving on to running back, and then here I've got a quiz for you, Matt.
Oh, great.
Well, at least last year, their starting running back was named Doug Martin. You know of him, right?
Doug Martin.
Do you know? Do you know what his nickname is? Do you know what his nickname is?
No.
I'll give you a hint.
Since I did the Batman last time, working as the Joker.
It's so creepy. I'm just going to tell you. It's Muscle Hamster. Do you remember? Have you ever heard this before? That's
creepier than my terrible Joker. Muscle Hamster?
Say Muscle Hamster in your creepy Joker voice.
Is it the Muscle Hamster?
Oh my god, okay.
Come on, we have fun here.
That's funny. It's good. Anyway, Martin, he hates that nickname, by the way. So if you ever see
I'd
him,
hate that nickname.
Don't call him that if you ever meet him.
If I meet him, I'm sure that's the last thing I would want to do.
I mean, he's a muscle hamster, so you wouldn't want to piss him off.
Cute
Okay,
boy.
so that you have no response to. Oh, you're doing your creepy Joker laugh constantly over there, but you have... Okay. Anyway.
What am I going to say to a name like Muscle Hamster? Like, seriously, who came up with that?
That's a good question. I don't know who came up with it.
Somebody on acid.
So he only played 8 games last year because of hamstring injuries, and when he did play, he
The
was...
hamster had hamstring injuries.
You're making way too many jokes out of the word hamstring. He had 144 rushes for 421 yards, which was a sort of alarmingly low average of 2.9 yards per carry. And this happened in the first year after signing a 5-year extension.
Oh, that's always a great way to start your extension.
He got extended after his 2015 season when he ran for 1,400 yards and 6 touchdowns. But after his very rough season last year, the team is reportedly questioning whether he's part of their 2017 and beyond plans.
He fell off the hamster wheel.
He wasn't even the best. I'm just going to ignore you now.
It took you this long.
I love how you went from not knowing the nickname to hating it, and now you're making a new joke.
I'm over here laughing ridiculously to myself.
I'm just trying to keep a straight face because Matt just looks ridiculous right now. It's hilarious.
It's a good thing we don't have cameras.
Yeah, it is. So Martin, even when he was on the field for those 8 games, he wasn't the best running back on the team even, which leads me to Jacquizz Rodgers, who's one of my favorite names. Oh yeah, I was telling you, these are my favorite names in the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Jacquizz.
Can you imagine if Jacquizz Rodgers, Richard Rodgers, the Rodgers from the Steelers all went to Green Bay?
Okay. We get it. Rodgers is a common name.
No, can you imagine them all on the same team with Aaron Rodgers?
Eli Rodgers. Oh yeah, that's who you meant by Steelers Rodgers?
I can't remember his first name.
Okay, yeah, it's Eli. Are there any more?
Like, can you imagine the whole Green Bay offense is just Rodgers?
That'd be pretty funny.
There's a Rodgers to Rodgers to Rodgers to Rodgers.
See, some of them don't have a D though. It's just Rodgers with the Rogers. So.
Took you a while to spell that.
Well, I was considering making a joke about my previous statement, but I decided not to.
Oh.
So Jacquizz Rodgers
I see where you're going with that.
carried a lot of the workload last year, rushing 129 times for 560 yards with a 4.3 average, much higher than Martin's, and 2 touchdowns. Rodgers is 27 years old, and he spent most of his career with Atlanta, actually, if you remember, and he worked then primarily as the passing downs back. Matt's shaking his head no, he doesn't remember. But he looked good last year, running the ball too, and got re-signed to a 2-year, $3 million contract.
Is his workload going to decrease next year too? Oh wait, he didn't get 5 years, so that was a shot at Doug Martin.
Oh, okay.
I gotta explain this to you now.
Well, it didn't really work, so yeah.
Your face doesn't work.
And the other guy in this backfield's named Peyton Barber, who was an undrafted rookie they signed last offseason. And he actually looked pretty promising with...
As a backup, he looked better than Doug Martin, that's for sure. I saw more production out of him.
Yeah, he had a higher average. He had 55 carries, 223 yards with a 4.1.
I mean, it's like you say, it's a much smaller sample size that he carried, but he just looked better.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about the whole Doug Martin deal because I was going to be like, well, I don't know if he's really worth keeping around. But
right, because he wasn't on the field a lot last year. And even before that, he's had injury issues before. He's had these stretches of time where he just doesn't run that well because I think this was in his second year in the league. He was, I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but he was good. He had over 1,000 yards, a lot of receiving yards too. And that was when he sort of fell off the cliff the first time. But then he came back in 2015 with that big season, got the contract extension. But now, whatever happened to him last year, besides
he's an
injuries,
up and down player at best.
Yeah. And you really want consistency out of your backfield. So it sounds like they're not
too happy with their decision.
They're not happy with it, yeah, and they're thinking about getting rid of him somehow. I don't know. They'd have to cut him. It'd be hard to imagine.
But they'd be a huge cap salary hit to release him. So I don't know. Maybe they'll gamble and see if they can get 1 year of production out of that.
Right, or put him into more of a design timeshare role with these other guys, Barber and Rodgers. Who Rodgers pretty much is what he is at this point, but Barber is a guy who has potential to be a starter one day. Moving on to wide receiver, where they definitely don't have issues. The top guy here is Mike Evans, And each of the last 3 years, he's increased his receptions and yardage totals. And that culminated last year in 96 catches, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns, which was tied for second most in the league. He's huge. He's 6'5", 231 pounds, and he's perfect for like fade routes in the end zone and other body throws. He can really go up for the ball well. And he and Winston seem to have developed a really good connection in their 2 years together. Last year was his first year with Winston as quarterback. He had just 3 touchdowns and a lot of yards still, but they weren't hooking up in the end zone the way they should have been. And this year they definitely seem to have figured that out. Yeah.
Sorry, thanks. George Takei's in the background.
So yeah, these guys are looking good. They lost Vincent Jackson to free agency, which is fine. He was old and getting hurt, not doing much anymore. Yeah, I know that sounded harsh. But they replaced him with another Jackson named
Michael?
Deshaun.
Oh. That's the Gatson.
Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, that guy.
Remember he was on the Eagles last year. Oh, wait.
What, as you told me, what decade are you in?
He was on the Redskins last year, and they chose to let him go. Tampa Bay signed him to a 3-year, $33 million deal.
I think he's worth that.
I think so, too. He's a great deep threat, and which Evans really isn't. He's not that deep threat, really.
No, but he's still the big body number one guy that you like. Go up physical, make corners work for their end of the ball as much as he is.
And now you have that on one side of the field.
And speed on the other.
Crazy speed of Deshaun Jackson on the other, right? So, both of these guys should have big seasons, I think. And their skills help each other, too.
And I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with this one, because their third perfect counterpart, somebody who's been up and coming. Let's see if I can make an educated guess here.
Adam Humphries?
Savage.
Oh, that's good. You're on point these last couple minutes. I don't know about the beginning, but I like where your head's at now. Adam Humphries is a second year.
Do you really want to know where it's at?
You mean physically, or like? Okay, Adam Humphries is a second-year receiver who plays a slot mostly.
Yes.
He was third on the team last year with 55 catches and 620 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, like you said,
I think the chemistry took a while to develop here, like it did with Evans, but this year definitely has stepped up the pace.
Yeah.
The beginning of the season, I didn't hear his name called a lot, but as the season went on, and Winston, like a lot of other quarterbacks, like I'll bring him in again, like Blake Bortles realized with Robinson, is you can't always go to your number one guy. It just, the NFL does not work that way.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is good, but he is not the Julio Jones good to where you could put the entire defense on him and he'll still make a catch.
Yeah.
And I think Winston realized this, and now Humphries has definitely gotten a lot more involved and has become a great go-getter for this team.
And like you said, all of their skills complement each other so nicely that this is a really strong.
It's balanced. Like you don't have all physic or all speed. It's a combination to give defenses so much to have to worry about. Because now with Deshaun Jackson, you have to worry about his speed versus Mike Evans' physicality. And Adam Humphries has the field of vision that makes him perfect for the slot. So now you have to worry about, well, if he does get the ball, you have to make sure you tackle him.
And another guy they're going to have to worry about, who's a tight end, is named Br8. That's a name we didn't hear much before last season, even though it was his third year in the league.
And he's pretty great.
Yeah, he is great.
He was born out of a crate.
He loves to hate.
Just leave the humor to me.
No, come on. I want to get one.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
All right, thanks. So, like I said, this was his third year, and he really had a breakout season in 2016 after all the issues with Austin Seferian-Jenkins leading the team. Maybe that was the only issue. But Br8 really stepped in nicely and caught 57 passes. 57 passes for 660 yards and 8 touchdowns, which was second on the team to Evans. And he's another guy who adds a lot of size to the pass catcher group. He's also 6'5" and 235 pounds. So he has the build of almost identical build to Mike Evans. So he's another big part of it.
It's funny how that 4 pounds makes you from a wide receiver to a tight end.
Yeah.
Usually it's a lot bigger gap than that. It's like a 10, 15 pound gap, and here it's like 4.
Right. Well, Evans is just huge. So yeah, they've got a very promising group of pass catchers for Winston to throw to. They need to work on that running game. But moving on to offensive line for just a second, It's a really good...
Okay, and we're done.
All right, a little more than a second, sorry. It's a really solid starting group, but they lack depth. So when guys get hurt, the guys who come in to replace them are just bad. Yeah, and that was apparent at left guard where they had J.R. Sweezy. He missed all of last year with a back injury, and I didn't write down the name of the guy who played instead of him, but he was horrible. Good news is Sweezy will be back this year. They just re-signed their center to a 2-year deal, Joe Hawley. And same issue with the right tackle, DeMar Dotson. He is a really solid player, but when he was hurt, he got replaced by someone who was really bad.
So in other words, they need to add depth to this in the event of injuries.
Add depth, and they need a new left tackle because Donovan Smith is a huge liability. He allowed 57 QB pressures last year and committed 14 penalties.
Ooh.
Yeah. 2 strikes. You're out.
What kind of baseball do you play?
So they need a new starting left tackle and overall depth along their offensive line and a running back.
Anything else?
I think that's it. Plus any defensive needs. Let's hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, a little bit. That's about all I got.
Okay, perfect.
Defense was in the lower quadrant of the pack.
Ooh, quadrant.
I know. I know fancy words. I'm not just stupid humor over here. Their best stat was at points allowed per game, which best was 15th overall, allowing 23.1 points. They allowed 368 total yards for 23rd overall, 251 were passing, 22nd, and 117 were rushing, which was also 22nd. So very lower portion of the pack. Not horrible, but for a young, up-and-coming, blossoming offense, this defense kind of needs to work on some stuff.
Yeah.
Their defense, what I noticed was when they are hot, they are hot. Like I'm talking bring in the pressure, tight man-to-man, everyone's doing their job. When the defense is firing on all cylinders, it could be arguably one of the best defenses. The problem is it either takes too long for them to get to that point, like it's the fourth quarter and there's 10 minutes left and now the defense wakes up and realizes, we should probably be playing. And the problem with that is it put Tampa Bay behind a lot because the offenses would march down the field and then poor Jameis Winston is playing from behind. And not to say that it's not impossible, but I don't think anybody likes playing from behind. Maybe Matt Stafford, because, the Lions' comebacks have been ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
Ooh,
Brett Favre back in the day.
Oh, really? You will find a way, won't you?
He's a better quarterback.
Joe Montana. The one game I watched because it was the only game that my free agency pick played in was versus Chicago, and I thought this was always because Chris Conte was always one of my favorite players. Uh-huh. I really liked him; he was really good, and I thought it was ironically and also hilarious that the Bears cut him, and then he turned around and intercepted Jay Cutler. The announcers made the big and the former Bear Conte intercepts Jay Cutler.
How good must that have felt for him?
It'd be like, you guys got rid of me. Watch this. Let me take it back, and he returned it 15 yards.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Cutler actually got to tackle him, but I think that would have been hilarious if he had stiff-armed Cutler.
Yeah.
Their defense a lot of the time seemed conservative. They were trying to pull the whole bend don't break, and it just they
broke.
They definitely cracked occasionally. They didn't ever got blown away per se, defensively wise. I mean, whatever the score was, we might say differently. But defensively, the way they looked, it's not like they'd get past the entire thing and run 80 yards for a touchdown. So, but I think they were trying to do something that this defense isn't suited for. Mm-hmm. I mean, that whole bend don't break mentality is great in theory, but only certain defenses can pull this off.
Yeah.
It's not something I think everybody should try because not everybody is built this way. Occasionally they would miss tackles. Their tackling was pretty good. And I don't get to say that a lot about teams because a lot of teams, what they did, what makes me mad, and New Orleans and Carolina both did it. They do the Pittsburgh Steelers check. Oh. Instead of wrapping them, they throw their shoulder. And when it works, it's great because it's a quick hit. It's just, it's a shoulder pad hit, so you don't take a big brunt. You don't have to worry about falling awkwardly to the ground. The problem is if you miss, you hit nothing but air. Mm-hmm. I hate that kind of tackling. That's not the open field tackling you need to be making, especially with these guys getting more agile. They didn't blitz. They don't seem like a very blitzing defense, but when they do blitz, it's really effective. And I think that's because they don't blitz a lot. I believe they were 15th overall in the league in their blitz percentage. So they were very situationally blitzing. Like it was 3rd and 4, or it was 1st and 15 after a penalty. So it's like, how much farther can we push them back? And when their defense is on fire, they can make amazing things happen. It's like the Bears were backed up into their own 2-yard line, and they forced a forced fumble, which is why it's called forced fumble, because it's forced.
Oh, so he didn't just drop it all on his own. They forced him to drop it.
Well, it's Cutler, so it could have gone either way, honestly. But then what amazed me was they chased Cutler in a way to where Cutler kicked it out of the back of his own end zone, which by rules results in a safety.
That's amazing.
And it was funny because when you watch the play, they dove for it, but at the same time, the way the linebackers were, it's like, let's try this. Like the linebackers didn't really go for it. The linemen dove for it, but the linebacker that was trying to get Cutler for the sack made him run in such a way that instead of Cutler diving on it, Cutler kind of went to kick it, but I don't know. It was a very bizarre play. I just thought it was hilarious that they made Cutler kick it out the back of the end zone.
Funny. It wasn't Conte again, was it?
No, it was a linebacker, so it wasn't Chris Conte.
Right.
My highlighted player was Josh Robinson, who was a cornerback. Now, it took me so much information to find these guys because I don't know if it's just getting harder with free agency sort of closing down to find these guys. It was his first year with Tampa. He was 26 years old, 6th season in the league, and you were sitting down for this amazing list of stats.
I am sitting down.
I see that.
I think you can see me sitting down. Yeah, go on.
Oh, wait, I opened my eyes. Yeah, you're sitting down. He had 11 tackles.
Whoa.
I know, right? And these types of stats make it really hard because I tried watching him playing and he was rotational, he was in and out, or they only played certain games, whether it be via injuries or the guy just needed a week off. I don't know what to say, whether they should keep him or not, because this defense looks like it's going in a good direction, but I feel like they could work on their pass rush more than their corners. Because this bend but don't break mentality they tried doesn't work.
I actually have some news for you about Josh Robinson.
Oh.
They did re-sign him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
To a 2-year, $5 million deal.
Okay, that I can get along with.
Nothing long term. They're not shelling out too much money.
No, because especially if he stays in this rotational play, he's there as a relief. Give the guy a rest.
Yeah.
Or against certain...
Or the nickel corner.
Correct.
Because you've got Vernon Hargraves.
He plays in a dime package a lot of the time.
Yeah. Hargraves and Brent Grimes are the primary corners.
And for those of you who don't know what a dime package is, that's actually where they pull 2 linebackers and put 2 additional corners out there, usually for an open receiver set, or if the running back lines up in a catcher's position. Catcher's position? Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Wide receiver.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Catcher, wide receiver. Same thing.
Well, they're a wide receiver if they catch the ball.
They're a catcher if they catch the ball, too.
Do you have anything to add other than...
Yeah, I have a couple of things. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. As we mentioned in our free agency show last week, they signed J.J. Wilcox to play strong safety for them. 2 years, $6.25 million.
J.J. what?
No, J.J. Wilcox. And defensive tackle, they signed Chris Baker from the Redskins for 3 years and $15 million. One thing I just want to note is that they have a really good linebacker combination with Quan Alexander, the middle linebacker, and Levante David, one of the outside linebackers. Those guys are really solid, and so is Darryl Smith, but he's a free agent, and they have not made they haven't made any move to re-sign Darryl Smith yet. If you remember him, he spent some time with Baltimore, but he's getting up there in age a little bit. So it would make sense. I wouldn't be too upset if they bring someone younger in. And Chris Conte too. They re-signed to a 2-year, $5 million deal.
Chris Conte was
so
hilarious.
He's coming back. So that's good. Good to see.
Can't wait for them to play Chicago again. Anytime a former Bear, especially successful Bear, plays the Bears, I find it amazingly hilarious.
There have been so many guys too. Oh, they're going to get Martellus Bennett twice this year on the Packers.
Yep. So let's look at a quick list of Bears players that were really good that were let go.
Greg Olsen,
Greg Olsen,
Matt Forte, Brandon Marshall.
Robbie
who
Gould.
were we just talking about? Oh, yeah. Who were we just talking about?
Chris Connie.
Chris Condy.
Martellus Bennett.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if they play the Eagles because Jeffrey is another guy on that
Alshon
list.
Jeffrey. Yeah, there we go. We'll have to look at the Chicago schedule for next year and see how many former players they play, and hope that they just light them up.
That's always fun.
But that's all I have on the defense.
Yep, me too.
All right, Mike, I want to give you the honors of wrapping up this episode
Oh, thanks, Matt.
with the TLDW.
Oh, you said it. Congrats. Yeah, too long didn't watch.
I like
You
to
wanna-
thank the lovely fans.
And here is your award, a donut.
Is that a
We've
fat
got a-
joke?
I've never said. Are you saying you're fat? Are you saying I'm fat?
We could be fat together.
That sounds spicy. Where's George Takei again?
Oh my.
Okay, TLDW. Let's do a quick recap of what we've talked about today. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 9-7, second in the NFC South. Very middle of the pack on offense, but a lot of that has to do with the less than stellar running game. Jameis Winston looked good again in his second season. Turnovers were way up from his rookie year, but he also threw more, and he still looks good. Running back they need to address, though, because Doug Martin, a year into the 5-year extension he signed last year, had an awful season. He missed half the games because of hamstring injuries, but even when he was in there, he only averaged 2.9 yards per carry. And
It's a great way to start your 5-year extension.
I know, right? And the other running backs outplayed him on the team, including Jacquizz Rodgers, the 27-year-old veteran running back.
Say that one more time.
Jacquizz Rodgers. Or Jacquizz. I think it's Jacquizz.
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi Rodgers. Who they just re-signed to Rodgers. And they've also got a young guy, Peyton Barber, who was an undrafted rookie free agent last
And a
year.
hairstylist in his free time.
No, I don't think so, Matt. Sorry. He looked good too, but they need to do something with this running game because it was a liability.
Whether they bring in a veteran, I don't know. AP's still available.
He is, and that gets. I just saw today though that he's in quote no hurry to sign a deal.
It's not all about the money.
He says that, but the money he's asking for is the reason he hasn't been re-signed.
$8 million.
I think. Yeah, no one's going to pay him $8 million.
Not when they don't know what to expect out of him.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what they decide to do at running back, whether it's draft somebody, grab one of their remaining free agents. Jamal Charles is still out there, just saying. So yeah, wide receiver though, they're very solid. They've got Mike Evans, who's great. They signed Deshaun Jackson to be that deep threat. And they've got Adam Humphries, an up-and-coming slot receiver who looks really good. And another threat in the passing game is third-year tight end Cameron Br8. He had 8 touchdowns. Oh, Br8 had 8. Br8 scored 8 last year, and
That's pretty great.
he's another big guy. It's impossible to hate.
Even if you live in a crate.
Yeah. You know how crates make you hate people usually, but
We've gotten
can't even do it.
stupider as these episodes go on.
That's why they're getting so long, is because there's like 3 to 4 minutes of just weird jokes.
But we're having fun.
We're having fun. Hopefully other people will have fun listening. At offensive line, they really lack depth, and they need to address the left tackle position. So do you want me to do defense too?
For defense, they ranked at the bottom
I guess that's
quadrant of the pack.
Ooh, quadrant.
Quadrant again, yeah. When they're hot, they're on fire. When they're on fire, they're hot. And they probably need to be put out with some water so they don't burn.
I thought that was a good thing, being hot.
No, it is. It's just that they need to be more consistent. You know, when this defense fires on all cylinders, they make it opposing offenses struggle. I mean, you could say the Chicago offense was just garbage and couldn't produce, but, I mean, they were able to put Chicago in a position to fight for points, which is all you really want out of your defense. I don't care if they're 32nd overall. If you make teams fight for points, that's a good thing. They need to stop being so conservative. This blitzing works. They need to use it more. So they need to be able to generate a better pass rush, and these corners need to tighten up. Chris Connie's one of their better corners.
Safety.
Free
Free safety.
Well, I didn't write all that down.
I'm sorry.
God, you make me
I
look so
feel bad
stupid
for
all
you.
the time.
I just want to make sure that the correct information gets
Oh, this is coming
That's
from
it.
you.
That's all I want.
What conference are we in?
Who's the Steelers' backup quarterback?
Jarvis Landry. Wait. This is just a defense that I expect that will get better with time. The linebacking and front line is good, but these corners need to tighten up their work. With Josh Robinson and that 2-year deal, it sounds like he's just a plug maybe for a temporary solution. He plays in a dime package. So we'll have to see what they have in store.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. Honors of wrapping it up, Mike?
Oh, man. I don't know if I'm ready, but I'll try. Okay, here we go. That concludes our Tampa Bay Buccaneers show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have any thoughts on what we discussed today, let's see, what were our hot topics? What do you think the Bucs should do about running back? Do you think that Doug Martin, a.k.a. the muscle hamster, can have a resurgent 2017, or should they be looking elsewhere for the long-term solution there?
Do you think Jacuzzi Rogers should go to the Packers?
What? They just re-signed him to a 2-year extension.
Well, I don't care.
I thought you said I could wrap it up.
Oh, sorry. I'll shut up then.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, follow us on Twitter at 2M_football. We post links to our videos as well as react to the breaking news around the NFL. You can leave your comments here and hit the like and subscribe button. We also have included a link to our email address, which is show@2mfootball. I shouldn't say that. Just look in the description.
2mfootballshow@gmail.com. You set it up.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah. And yeah, I think that's it. Check us out next time for the 3rd place team in the division, which will be a surprise. See you next time.
Bye.